All right, with the Celebration Bowl almost a week ago, it's time for some reflection. First of all, it was a very good game. Went to overtime, had a dramatic drop. It was a very entertaining and fun game to watch. But following that game, there was a very interesting idea brought to the table. And that was a Division II HBCU National Championship between the CIAA and the SEAC. And I thought about that for a second. I thought, you know what, that could be fun. It could be interesting, could be entertaining, could be cool. You have a whole HBCU championship weekend, one game on one day, the next game on the next day. Or you can have both on the same day, whatever you want to do. Be a good way to sell out the crowd if you have both games on the same, but whatever. But ultimately, in my opinion, being a Bowie State alum, HBCU D-2 football program, I got to be honest with you, I'm not that interested in a Division II HBCU National Championship for several reasons. First reason is this, and it's going to be harsh, but hey, it has to be said. To me personally, being an HBCU national championship at the Division II level doesn't really mean a whole lot. And I'm going to tell you why. It doesn't mean a lot because if we're going to keep it all the way real, many programs are not at a place where they need to be. I'm going to just speak on the CIAA, for example. Half of the CIAA, if you beat them, it's nothing to write home about. You're not excited. You're not happy. It's expected. It's expected to beat Lincoln. It's expected to beat Johnson C. Smith. It's expected to beat Livingstone. It's expected to beat Elizabeth City State. Truthfully, I expect to beat Shaw every year. Now, we had a bad game this year and Shaw beat us, and I was actually mad and disappointed because half of the teams in the conference you expect to beat regularly, yearly, by a lot of points. I'm sure there's 3 or 4 teams in the SEAC that those at the top of the conference would say it's the same thing about. So if you were to become a Division II national champion at the HBCU level, you're really only worried about or competing against 3 or 4 teams. Everybody else they're an afterthought. And that's why I'm not interested in it. Another reason is this. In my opinion, HBCUs at the D2 level are a lot closer to winning championships than HBCUs at the Division I level. I think it's highly possible and probable for Division II programs to consistently make it to the second, third round of the Division II playoffs. Like I've seen it happen. Schools that never had playoff games and never had playoff wins can all of a sudden start winning conference championships. You go to the playoffs one year, you lose because it's your first time there. Then you go to the next year, you win a game. The next thing you know, you're in the third round. It has happened, and it can happen a lot easier at the Division I level. So, and that's part of the reason why I'm not really interested in the Division II HBCU National Championship, because I think that it is realistic to believe that in the near future, and Division II HBCU could see themselves in the national championship game. I think that it's possible for a Division II program to get to the level of a School of the Mines, of a Shepherd, of a Ferris State now, of a Valdosta. It's possible. Especially with support, people coming in the games, people giving money. Yeah, it's possible. So I would much rather do that. But what I would like to see, I would love to see a SEAC CIAA challenge, like how they had the MEAC SWAC challenge at the beginning of the year. I would love to see a MEAC, a CIAA SEAC challenge. You know, the top 3 or 4 teams in the SEAC and the top 3 or 4 teams in the CIAA, they meet up at the beginning of the year. I'd like to see something like that. It doesn't have to be the same format as the Division I MEAC SWAC challenge because obviously they have more money and resources. But it could just be, hey, this year, these 2 SEAC teams are going to travel to these 2 CIAA schools. These 2 CIAA schools are going to travel to these 2 SEAC schools. We're going to rotate and flip it vice versa year after year, and we're going to do it like that. Like, I would love to play some SEAC schools during the season. And not just in football. I would love to see us play some SEAC schools yearly in basketball as well. So I definitely want to see more of that. See more of us playing each other. Even if it's just one game. If each year, each CIAA and SEAC school plays one school from the other conference. Just one game out the season. I would love that. But as far as, you know, a Division II Celebration Bowl where you have to, like, skip on the playoffs, I'm not really into that. Especially because, if we keep it real, a lot of HBCU Division II programs have just found their footing to where they're regularly being ranked and making the playoffs on a regular basis and winning playoff games. So that's what I want to do. I want to see a HBCU Division II program win a national championship. Obviously, I hope it's Bowie, but hey, if it's Benedict, if it's Albany, if it's Virginia Union, if it's Virginia State, if Winston-Salem gets back on their feet and they do it, hey, I just want to see an HBCU win the whole thing. That's what I want to see. I understand us competing with one another. I understand that. But we should be able to compete with everybody. We should be able to beat everybody. I don't want to integrate. I don't want to mix conferences. I don't want to leave the CIAA and have the CIAA merge with something else. No. I want the CIAA to constantly grow and improve and become a power. I want Johnson C. Smith to get better. I want Lincoln to get better. I want Livingstone to get better. I want St. Aug's to get better. So that we can have an overall strong conference that can rival any conference, regardless of whether it's historically black or not. That's the goal for me. I don't want us to. Only time I would want us to lead the CIAA is if we're moving up to Division I. And if we move up to the Division I want to move up to the MEAC. But that's, if we were to do that, that wouldn't be no time soon because we're not ready for Division I right now. I'm just saying, I want to keep it all black. Just to be clear. I just want to compete with everybody. But I want to compete with everybody saying, hey, this is us, this historically black conference that's kicking your ass. That's what I want. That's what I want to happen. I want a CIAA school to become the national championship. And say, yeah, the oldest black sports conference just came up in here and whooped everybody and won the championship. That's what I would like to do.